I want to do something and I don't know how to get the footing. And this is a good place to say, okay, let's make it our goal to focus whatever we got to do to start something.
So you're specifically talking about like dredging or doing something to.
That's, yeah, I don't know. Either killing some vegetation and, or.
I don't know if there's something they can put in it or whatever.
The only way the city could do that is through some sort of special assessment. That's normally the standard. And I don't, people in this town, once you say special assessment or tax, they're canceling. The city does not have the revenue to maintain that river. We looked at it.
I'm not saying right now.
Yeah,
saying,
but we never will.
but
we will never have the revenue to
it's
maintain that
important
river.
to the city to maintain a
I agree what you're saying, but I also have to set the realistic expectations here. The city does not have the resources to maintain that river unless it was a special assessment. That's the only way we can do it.
But I don't see anything wrong, even though the title is land use, which kind of precludes water, I don't see anything wrong with the goal for saying Lowell will be characterized by walkable, paddleable, I don't know, walkable, stable neighborhoods, conveniently located and paddleable, riverways or something.
I like that idea, and I like the idea of partnering with the state and the federal government on that. Just understand the city cannot do it ourselves.
We're not putting it on you. I just want
Yeah, I mean, so
the city to.
Yeah, so
That's
if we
important.
Right. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm the person who has to make the realistic expectation for people. And the realistic expectation is the city does not have the resources to maintain that river. It doesn't mean we can't try to reach out to see if we can get the resources.
Yeah.
But if you're expecting us to cut police and fire to maintain that river, that's just not going to happen.
So if we say something like work with state and federal agencies to explore, dredging the flat river north of the dam, or undertake efforts to make it more navigable, something like that, I think is sort of getting at what you're communicating.
Yeah,
Understanding that it's not
a goal to not just ignore it and let it fill in. Let's hey, we want to keep this.
Yeah, it's a key part of the city's identity.
Yeah, it is.
It's
And
not worth letting just fill in.
Who wants to come to a marsh? I mean, there's got to be some kind of grounds to
They do it
work with Eagles. Say, hey, this is what our city was built around.
Yeah.
I think you gotta go above Eagle.
I think you do too.
I think you need to go to the federal level. I don't think the state will help, because we're not a poor and underdeveloped community, right? We face that constantly where we have, we're too well off and we don't qualify for a lot of different things. But yeah, I kind of like to put water in there, because it's something you and I have been talking about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I can't bring up what it is, but eventually, and I think that's probably could be, in the next 10, 15 years, could probably be doable.
So we'll add that in. So for now, we'll just put it as an objective under number 4. The final draft, we might kind of move that around or something, but we'll make sure that that statement stays in there.
Like I said, I don't know how to do it. I don't even know, but it's.
Well, that's okay. I mean, so doing this is, this is a visionary exercise, right? It's not about what we or any of us are going to do tomorrow, but what we can make happen in 10, 15, 20 years from now when we don't know, what that's going to look like. But to have a policy that says this is what we want, we know that if and when that opportunity arises, that it is the policy of the city to do something about it.
But as a kid, I remember a lot of people that lived here, they emptied the river, and it was just this little flow. When we took we all had to go volunteer. We took washers and dryers and boat motors. A gun was found.
A car.
I don't remember the car, but I remember my dad making me walk out there in that muck and helping. It was like, and
there's got to be something.
We did it once, so
yeah.
But times have changed too.
Yeah. And then there's so many factors too, because if you have invasive species in there, then you can't touch it. There's so many different things. If you have snails, there's so many different things.
Township's Bridge is a good example. They found 10 snails in Jerry, they were $100,000 because Jerry had to move those 10 snails 2 times.
2 times?
2 times.
They came back.
No, where they told they could put them, then they came back and said, no,
Oh, move
you gotta move
We
over
looked at,
here.
we looked at doing, in my former community, they did a, we used to have a milfoil issue. You think this is bad, that was worse. And the city would, in a certain area, a small area, they would do a harvest every year. They'd have a giant harvester come through the mill pond and whip and rip everything out. And it was not cheap, but the city, what happened though is the city basically, once they did that, they agreed to commit, they had to do it every year. So once you start doing that, it has to be done every year, otherwise it'll get worse. If you skip a year, it'll be an absolute nightmare. And the DDA did look at that, but you're looking at over $100,000 annually to do that, just in the area that we looked at. And the issue was that, well, one, if the DDA didn't exist anymore, we wouldn't have the funds to do it. There was also concerns with the dam. I know King Milling had some reservations about it, but they just realized that if we didn't have the revenue, then we were really in trouble. So the options you really have, I mean, a lot of places that do stuff, the residents are special assessed, and that takes care of it. But I'm not proposing that. I'm just saying that that's usually how you get it resolved, unless you can get some sort of a windfall from the federal government, which I don't know. We can try.
I would almost say, if King Milling ever relinquishes the dams, you could increase the flow coming. So in other words, the faster the water's moving, the more,
It's gonna take with it.
yeah, you're gonna start cleaning up. And it's gonna take a long time, right? Because that dam's been in there since 1880. So it's gonna take a while, but
I don't see that happening.
I see.
Why would they do it?
because they have one little power unit that they're running
That's
on.
they only really use just the tiny portion.
Yeah.
There's a huge movement nationally for removal of in terms of like, returning waterways to natural state. When I was working on that, we were working on the Kalamazoo River and we were working on the Kalamazoo River in the wake of the Enbridge spill, and like there was funding coming in to take out dams left and right to improve the flow, to mobilize the oil, and it was like, the fashion of the day to remove old mill ponds and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know if King Milling was actually using that as a
They're
source
still
of,
using it.
you know,
Eventually, you have to hope that it's like they dictate all the islands, right? And it can't happen on. Yeah. But they were given that right 100 years or better.
I thought they were I thought they got like most of the power from whatever was going on in the state.
We're going to see this again, right, Andy?
No, I got it.
Eventually, yes.
Okay.
So,
Let's go. Let's keep going.
so the next goal 5, Lowell will work with adjacent communities to develop compatible land use patterns to promote a regional community, cooperating with but independent of the Grand Rapids metropolitan area. And then objectives: A, coordinate with adjoining townships to develop a plan for coordinated and compatible land uses along M21. B, work with surrounding townships to develop mutually acceptable utility service related agreements and jointly plan for land uses and development that will benefit all communities. C, cooperate with the Grand Valley Metro Council on issues of regional concerns to advance the interests of the city. Comments, questions, edits? Hearing none. Under transportation, goal 6, Lowell will maintain a transportation network that is sensitive to the land uses it serves, protects the integrity of residential neighborhood, and promotes safety within all areas of the city. And then under objectives, objective A, continue to work with MDOT and adjacent communities to promote and implement improvements to M21. These improvements should target key intersections such as Hudson Street, Bowes Road, and the downtown, and balance the need to improve safety for all users with particular attention to pedestrians, bicyclists, users of assistive devices, and all others. Item B, maintain an awareness of regional transportation issues that affect the Lowell area and work to proactively address issues that are important to Lowell. And C, work with the Rapid to explore options to serve the Lowell community with some form of mass transit service. Comments or questions on goal 6? Hearing none. Goal 7, promote an appropriate, this is also a transportation goal. To promote an appropriate image of the community, Lowell will maintain an attractive appearance at the major entrances to the city and along its principal transportation corridors. A, work with community groups and businesses to initiate and coordinate efforts to provide a gateway, clear sense of entry into the community on Main Street at Alden Nash on the west side and on Main Street near Grove on the east side. B, emphasize the heritage of the rivers through branding, marketing, and tourism efforts and their importance to the image of the city of Lowell. And then C, which is a repeat of one of them above, implement the 2018 Lowell Place Plan, because again, that was geared towards placemaking and developing kind of a localized sense of place. Comments or questions on goal 7 or the objectives to it? Hearing none. Goal 8 relates to housing. The city, through proper zoning and other appropriate measures, will facilitate opportunities for the provision of adequate amounts of quality, affordable homes for people of all ages and income levels. Underneath that, we have objectives. A, pursue economic development opportunities to provide jobs that will help increase employment opportunity within the city. B, review and revise as necessary residential zoning district standards to foster a variety of housing opportunities by ensuring that a variety of housing types are possible, including 2-family, 3-family, and 2-family, 3 and 4 plexes, accessory dwelling units, and other types of attainable and affordable housing suitable for all ranges of age and income levels. I think I need to wordsmith that a little bit. It's kind of clunky. Then item C, actively assist property owners to improve housing conditions and connect the property owners to resources can assist in housing rehabilitation improvement. So other than some grammar issues, are there any questions or comments or edits to goal 8?
Oh, when I read that at home, I thought I was just getting tired.
I must have been getting tired when I was writing it at this point, because yeah, that one, so we'll go back and change it, but I mean the sentiment I think you can glean there, and we'll get that cleaned up. The last one under community services, goal 9, the city will continue to provide municipal services that are appropriate to the funds available to provide them. And then under A, cooperate with the township, schools, and other governmental units to ensure that recreational and community facilities can be utilized to benefit residents. B, work with county agencies to improve access to county services and distribute information about county services to city residents. Questions or comments on goal 9? And the last question, is there anything in here that has been unaddressed or anything that we need to talk about or a goal that we need to touch on or anything like that other than Mr. Ellis's comment earlier in the meeting about the river?
We're going to use this to develop your, this is kind of our outline, so to speak.
Yeah, so this will be one of the, so this document here will be one chapter of the master plan. So from here we basically have 2 more chapters left to write. What we'll do next month is we will have a draft of the future land use map for you to review. We'll also have an accompanying text that will describe how each of those areas should be developed in the future. So your existing master plan has a future land use map in it now. I suggest, just to kind of get yourself up to speed, review what's in there now. We're going to propose a fair number of changes to it. So there's a lot of stuff in there that hasn't been. So some of it has been implemented. Some of it wasn't really feasible. And there's a lot of areas where we've kind of had a hard time as staff kind of working with what's there currently. So we're going to propose quite a few changes to that. A lot of it has to do with what's marked as like public facilities and some of the mixed use areas and things like that. So we'll come with something that's a little bit different. I think it'll make sense what we're trying to do here, but it's kind of your, if you want some homework for next month, I would review the existing future land use map, the existing future land use narrative in the master plan from 2007, and we'll provide a draft to you of that in advance of our meeting on July
Now we open to the public as well. I mean, everything's open to the
Yep.
public, but.
Correct. And then after that, we'll have one more chapter, and then we'll come back with a full cover-to-cover draft master plan. We'll go through the whole thing and make any additional changes you want. So we got a couple more months of doing this, and then eventually we'll have a full draft, we'll send it to city council, and we'll work through the adoption process, which will take a bit. But it's important that you guys see the whole thing, have a good chance to mark it up, make changes, and
So
we'll continue.
we don't have to do anything with what we did tonight? Is it good to go, or?
Yep,
do we make a
so-
motion to accept it, or?
No, I don't think so. If you're good with it, with the changes that we've made, we'll get this updated, and then when you see the draft plan that'll come out in a couple of months, when we get through the next couple of chapters, all of this will be in here. If you want, I can provide the final copy of this for the next meeting. We can do that as well, it's fine.
Okay,
But that's what I have for tonight.
thank you, Andy. You're welcome.
Andy, when we do things like this, just for the group, so we don't lose, at the next meeting, can you bring us back what we had discussed, and so we have a copy of it, and we can start creating our own binder, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we know where we've been, and it always is a good way for us to go back and relook and recheck. So if you could do that, I'd appreciate it.
Sure, can do.
Thank you.
Do we open, have any?
It's up to you.
It's on the agenda.
It is on the agenda, and we did ask for public comments only for things that are not on the agenda. So if you have something to say, I guess I would say that you should accept it.
State your name and appreciate it. And
Thank you, Tyler Kent, 280 Jane Allen. Appreciate the comments, stuck it out at the very end after you switched the rule on it, that's all right.
sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Just one general comment, I appreciate all the work that's gone into this, and any plans are not easy to do. As city grows, we are a commuting city, so there's a lot of people that are going to drive. One thing I'd like to see is, it was in the old master plan, but maybe kind of bring it back, maybe put a different spin on it, but keeping our roads, Mike's done a good job keeping our roads in good condition. But I don't know how the wording would be, but before we start doing land use, kind of looking at, improving safety and efficiency or ability or thoroughfares or road systems, something to that effect in there. A big one to me is Alden Nash. That thing backs up for at least 1.5 miles up the hill, and making sure we don't preclude something in the future would be nice. Just as we think about all of that, and it's a major form of mobility for people here. So just not losing sight of that and finding a home for that somewhere in the plan.
I think there was something about transportation, in one of the goals right there, wasn't there?
We do have a transportation goal.
Yeah, just addition, we removed all the Nash, so I'd like to bring it back.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other public comment? Okay, I'm closing public comment. Okay, staff report? Nothing? Sue, Mike?
Nothing further.
No funds, Mike? No money?
No more, there. You have no idea how I'm pull my hair out for 2 months. Trying to pay for all this
I
stuff.
don't think anybody has any money, but I have no idea. Okay, commissioners' remarks. Mike?
Good.
Good. Dave? Kyle? Nope. Nice to have you again.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Nikki?
Nothing.
John? Anything else, Andy? I have nothing. And I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Well, I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
We'll support.
Everybody supports. Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.